This sounds so ridiculous. Now I'm embarrassed, but 2 sleeping bags. We just sleep on the living room floor because we didn't have any beds in there.
So in terms of Mariucci, how much did the following moment kind of help in cementing your guys' friendship? It was March of '72, regional title game in Marquette, and you trail by 1 point with 2 seconds left.
Yeah, and I get fouled, and I will say, he probably didn't tell you this, but I had a great game, better than him. And
He said that rarely happened, though.
yeah, sounds like mooch. But I got fouled, went to the free throw line, 1-and-1 free throw with 2 seconds left, just what he said, and I missed it. And, it was funny because kind of crumbled, and he's the guy that picked me up. I mean, we already had a tight friendship, but then the bond was one that we helped each other through his walk-on days at Northern, my walk-on days. We were roommates forever, 4 in school, and 1 as a GA and 2 as full-time assistants. Then he went to Cal Fullerton. Another year or 2, I went to Michigan State. And, we've been so far apart, and yet we're best men at each other's wedding.
By the way, tell about your best man speech.
I was excited. I was playing fast pitch softball, and a ball came up and hit me in the jaw, broke my jaw. So then the doctor didn't want me going because when you're wired, if you fly and you get sick, you die. You can't do it. So I said, no, there'll be none of that. So I had a pair of wire cutters that they gave me, seriously, and I had to talk to the attendant at the time, and just in case something happened. So I did my best man speech kind of by Braille. I kind of learned a couple things, and I had a sidekick kind of translate.
I was going to say, have you seen the video of it?
I did once. It was not good, but it was a hell of an experience.
I believe it was a $2,500 trailer that turned into a little business where you guys kept upgrading and upgrading into eventually a house. Explain that.
Well, the last year we were playing, we took our scholarship money and bought this trailer for $2,500, and we had bunk beds in the back, and then we had one other room that we bunked, so we were slumlords, we kind of got 2 other athletes to room in that thing, and the heat would go off so often that Mariucci bought a hairdryer, and he'd hang it on the bed when the heat go off. He'd turn the hairdryer on under the covers. I mean, it sounds so barbaric, but unfortunately it was true.
There'd be, half a dozen plus people sleeping in the trailer?
I think the most we had was 5 because his sister moved in with us, so we triple bunked our room at one time. And, a lot of people would stay. They'd come up and stay for a game or something. But yeah, we moved from that trailer across the street. That one was 12 by 60. We went to a 14 by 72. And then we went hog wild the 3rd year. We were GAs, had a little bit more money. And we bought the double wide that they put together, which was the office. And still kept our bunk beds. Then we got to do 2 or 3 rooms we got to rent out. So we were really making money. And then finally we moved into a duplex. And that's the last. So every year we moved on up, man. We were like the Jeffersons.
And then you renovated the duplex.
Oh, yeah. Well, we bought one other house.
I mean, you did it yourself.
Yeah. I was brought up kind of building things and that. But all he did was hand me the nail, hand me the hammer. But, man, we used to work all day. We were GAs. Then I took a little high school job about 15 miles away. We'd come back. We took night classes 4 days a week for our masters. That would go from like 6 to 9 or something. And then we go work on this house we were fixing up till 2, 3 in the morning, and took a couple sleeping bags. This sounds so ridiculous. Now I'm embarrassed, but 2 sleeping bags. We just sleep on the living room floor because we didn't have any beds in there then. And, we were cutting paneling, and so sawdust would be, we wake up in the morning, sawdust, and then back to teaching class.
How did it end up looking when you guys were finished?
Not bad.
Okay.
Not bad. It was a pretty good place. It was 4 bedrooms, so we collected a lot of rent.
Yeah.
Still had bunk beds. So every year but the very last year, We finally had our own rooms, so.
I assumed you guys had grand ambitions from the beginning, and he was telling me that actually, no, you guys wanted to be teachers and coaches, much like these high school coaches who, outside of your parents, you guys really looked up to.
Yeah.
Explain that.
We had some incredible high school teachers and coaches. In fact, to this day, once a year I host a party here. They come down, 60 of my former coaches and teachers, and now some of them have actually passed away, but some of them had a lot to do with our success. When you hear the phrase, it takes a village to raise a child, we had a hell of a village. Now, you couldn't get in much trouble there because wherever you lived, there's a good chance the principal lived on one side, the superintendent on the other, the football coach behind you, and the chief of police in front of you. So if I got in trouble, my parents knew before I got in trouble.
So you guys thought you were going to be teachers and coaches. You guys, I think, learned driver's ed expecting to teach that. But when did that ambition start to change?
We did take driver ed just to try to make a little more money, and that was interesting. A couple of classes. Still got my certificate. If you can't drive, I'll teach you. But we were GAs, and we said, man, this coaching thing could be good at the college level. And it just happened, as fate would have it happen. That next year, you only had one assistant in basketball and only 4, I think, in football in Division II schools. The guy left Northern in basketball. Glenn Brown hired me. The guy left in football. They hired Mariucci as a quarterback coach. And so we were 23 or so, and we both had full-time assistants making less than part-time money.
So where does jackhammering rock and picketing with the Tilden Miners fall in there?
Yeah, geez, bringing up a lot of things there. So we figured our junior year of college, we had to make some money. It's hard to get a date with no money, and we had none. Pizzas were running out. So we had a guy from our mount was the union boss of a couple of the big unions that worked at the mines. So we kind of snuck in the back door, which caused some problems because people didn't appreciate that back then. I didn't understand it all. I'll never forget one of my 2 favorite things was, they gave us the big 90-pound jackhammer. And so one day we get to there and they said, well, you guys got to chisel this rock down. I swear to God, to this day, I don't think it was for any reason. I think it was punishment. And we weren't very skilled at it. And then they'd come by and call us everything in the book. And there was no, I don't think there were any HR departments then, They called you whatever they wanted and did whatever they wanted. And then one day, the iron workers weren't real happy either. So we're there and put our coats down in our lunch bucket, come back at noon, and I grab my coat and I put it up, and there are all kinds of holes in it. And the iron workers were welding up there, and I look up and they're all laughing. Those guys were crazy, So Mariucci and I had a good experience in that. You know what that taught us?
What?
Get your degree and maybe be a coach.